the riff rundown with my friends at Fishman. Today's episode is pre-recorded, but don't worry, we're still gonna have a lot of fun. This one is geared towards my beginners. It's a great song with some great chords and a really easy strumming pattern, really fun one to play. We're gonna be learning Big Me, the acoustic version by the Foo Fighters. We saw this in the first Foo Fighters album, and we see it acoustic on the Skin and Bones live album that came out in 2006. So that's the version we're going to be learning today. So go ahead and put your acoustic guitar in standard tuning. And again, this is geared towards my beginners today, but everyone who's joining us, we can all learn a little something. All right. So as always, you guys are enjoying the lessons. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. It does indeed help the cause, folks. And if you want to see all the cool stuff that I'm using, all the cool Fishman gear, you can check the link in the video description. So let's go ahead and get started here. And as you guys know, I always like to ask a question before we get started. So let me know where you're tuning in from and your favorite concert that you saw at a theater. Your favorite concert you saw at a theater is today's question. And again, we are pre-recorded today, but please put those comments in the comment section. I will get to as many of those as I can when I am back. So here we go. Here is Big Me by the Foo Fighters, acoustic version. It's a fun one with some fun chords again. Really great one to play here. Definitely geared towards the beginners who are watching. So again, you always know I like to ask a question at the top. So question of the day, your favorite concert that you saw at a theater. So let's go ahead and get started at the top. Again, acoustic guitar here. Could you play this on electric? You absolutely could, but we are focusing on the acoustic version that we see on the Skin and Bones live album. So with the intro, again, it's the same chords as the verse, so we're covering two birds with one stone here. I'm going to play the intro a little bit slower than I did at the top, and the intro looks and sounds like this. So that's what's happening there. We have a C chord. We're playing it in a very fun way. A minor, G major, to an F. All right, so let's first talk about that C chord. Now, what we're doing here is we're going to play it in the normal way. My beginners who are watching who don't know how to play a C chord, I'll run through it real quick here. So we've got our first finger of the first fret of that B string. That's your C note. Okay, second finger, second fret of the D string, that's your E note. Your third finger is reaching up to the third fret of the A string, that's your C note. Again, our 1, 3, 5 is the numeric formula in building a major chord, and in this case, for the chord of C major, it's going to be C, E, G. 1, 3, 5. Now, what Dave Grohl does a little bit differently, and I wanted to make sure, so I watched this live version. He places his pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. So that right there, when you put your pinky there, is another G note. So when we play it, you're going to strum from the A string down, where it's going to sound like this. So just like that. Really, really pretty chord. And that's the C chord that he chooses to use. Again, really, really nice way to play it. All right? And the strumming pattern here is going to be a down, down, up, down, up. Right? And it sounds like this if I play it slowly. Just like that. So let the pick do the work for you. Don't feel the need to be really, really forceful. I'm someone who likes to strum from the elbow. I have a very broad strumming style. That's just me, but if you like to strum from your wrist, totally cool here. I like to strum from the elbow. All right, so that's the strumming pattern for this entire intro. Our next chord is going to be A minor. So you're going to get your first finger on the 1st fret of the B string. That's your C note. You're going to get your 2nd finger, 2nd fret of the D string. That's your E note. And then your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret, the G string, which is A. You're going to strum from the A string downward. And what's nice about this C chord and this A minor chord next to each other, beginners, pay attention here, take notes with this one. There's something I like to call pivot fingers that we have when we're switching between chords, and C and A minor have 2 of them. So when you're playing C and A minor next to each other, check it out. Watch my 1st finger and 2nd finger. Here's C, and here comes the A minor. See how I'm not lifting my 1st or 2nd finger? So you can use that as a pivot point. It's kind of cool. So going from that C to A minor is going to sound like this, again with that same strumming pattern. Okay, so just like that, let's go ahead and do that again. Just like that. Next chord is going to be G major. Now, when I was watching Dave play it, he played it like this with his 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. For me, this is a little bit more comfortable. I'll leave that up to you. Here's the way that I would play it. I'd get my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, which is our B note. It's going to be our 3rd in this chord. Your 2nd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret, the E string, which is G, which is our root or our 1. You're going to get your 3rd finger here, placing that on the 3rd fret of the high E string, which is a G. So that B string in this version of the G chord should be open, and it'll sound like this. Strum all 6 strings. So that's one way to play it there. If you wanted to play it the way that Dave does, you can do it that way with your 2nd finger on B, your 3rd finger on G, and then your 4th finger on the high E string G note. So you can choose to do it that way too. For me, I like to play it like that. So again, same strumming patterns, now incorporate these 3 chords, sounds like this. We'll do it a few times. And notice how in between each of these chords we get some of those open strings. Totally fine to do. It adds to the charm of this song. It's a very charming song. So let's go ahead and do that again. One more time. And next, the chord that many people fear, but don't worry, it's a good one, is the F bar chord, okay? I know many of us, especially as beginners, do not like playing this chord, but trust me, once you get it under your fingers, it's a good one to know and a good one to play, so stick with it. We're gonna get our 1st finger here across all 6 strings at the 1st fret. Now, something to keep in mind too, with your thumb, okay, we wanna place that as if the thumb and the 1st finger are looking at each other. Let's pretend that the guitar neck was clear for a second. So you want them looking at each other. We don't want the thumb up high, because if you notice how my hand shrinks a bit, we want to get a nice strong bar, which means we need to open up that wrist. Right here, we don't want the wrist tight like that. We want it nice and open so that the thumb can be gently pressing through the back of the neck. All right, so like that. So again, keeping this nice and open. We don't want that wrist up here for those bar chords, okay? So just drop the wrist, all right? So then you're gonna get your second finger, placing that on the second fret of the G string. That's our A note. So in this case, that's going to be our third. You're gonna get your third finger, placing that on the C note, third fret of the A string, and then your fourth finger playing F at the third fret, the D string. You're gonna strum through everything here. Now for some of us, this may sound a little bit buzzy, so some things to keep in mind, my beginners. What I want you to do is don't go right on top of the fret, because if you do, and notice how I'm pressing, that doesn't sound very good. The second I get it just next to the fret, see how nice and clear it is? It's just that barely, right, that like eighth of an inch that goes from being fuddy and buzzy to being nice and clear and strong. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these chords, making sure the fingers are nice and curled and you're as close to the fret as you can be without touching it, because that'll help us get rid of that fret buzz, which no one likes. All right, so there's that F bar chord. So let's go through this entire intro, and again, we're covering the verse here too. So two birds with one stone, as they say. So here you go from the top, intro. C, A minor, G, and that F bar chord. We're gonna repeat this a couple times, okay? So here we go. One more time. And one more time, why not? All right, so that's the progression there. Again, nice, steady, down, down, up, down, up, strumming pattern. All right, you can do this. And again, if you're enjoying these lessons, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps the cause. I got some new music coming out next week. The Voices EP drops on May 5th, 2022. 2023. Wow, we're in 2023. So it drops next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got an album release show the following day at the Mint in Los Angeles. So tickets are available on my website at angelapetrillimusic.com. You can check them out there. All right, so again, what's happening here? The verse, we've covered it. Now, let's go ahead and look at the chorus. The chorus has some interesting chords, and here's how the chorus sounds. And again, notice, same strumming pattern here. We're going to start off with an E major chord. And how we play that is like this. We're going to use these three fingers. First finger, first fret of that G string. That's our G sharp. It's going to be our third. Our second finger reaching up to the second fret of the A string. That's our B note. And our third finger playing E at the second fret of the D string. You're going to strum everything here. And again, it's the same strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, up. All right, so to an F major. From here, we're going to go to a regular C chord without that added G there. And it's going to, again, same strumming pattern, folks. And from there, we're going to go to a C7. So lucky for us, this is a very quick chord change. What we can do here is we're going to get our C chord. We're going to leave it as it is. Don't change anything right now. Don't lift anything. We're going to add something else. So this fourth finger, what I want you to do, placing that third fret of the G string, that's our B flat. So when we're building, okay, and I'll put that chord back. When we're building a 7 chord, okay, the formula for that is going to be a 1, 3, 5 flat 7. So in this case, that note is a B flat. That is the flattened 7. in the key of C. Okay, so that B flat right there, okay? So we have our C chord, and then we add that B flat to make it a C7, all right? And again, same strumming pattern. So let's go ahead and go through that. So the chorus, again, the chords that we have, at least in the first half of the chorus, is going to be E to F, C to C7. I'm going to play this a few times, so go ahead and follow along, all right? So here we go. For the second half of the chorus, it's going to sound like this. And again, same strumming pattern. I'm not changing anything here. The one thing that we're going to change, all right, we're going to get 2 bars of that F chord, and then we're going to finish with 1 bar of G major. So go ahead and do that. Second half of the chorus, again, E with 2 bars of F to G major. Same strumming pattern, keeping it nice and consistent. Keep that strumming hand moving. All right, so here's the second half. Now combining both parts of the chorus. Here we go. So there it is. So there's a verse and a chorus. Done. Now with verse 2 and verse 3, something changes a little bit. The chords are the same, but the order is slightly different. Like there's a first half and a second half. So I'm going to play the chord progression of verse 2 and verse 3. So it sounds like this. So that's what's happening there. So the order of that, at the top, we have a C, with that added, right, G note there, to an A minor, to a G, to our F major bar chord, and this is the part where he says, well, it's you. That part, all right? And that's the one bit that's like a little bit different, okay? So we have a C chord, and again, same strumming pattern on that C. And I saw I kind of went back and forth, so you can choose if you want to add that added G to that C chord or not. Completely up to you, okay? Now from there, we're going to do a quick G chord and a quick F chord, so that'll sound like this. Okay, we kind of split that bar in half. And then back to a C chord, we go back to the original strumming pattern, down, down, up, down, up, okay? and that'll sound like this. From there, we're going to go ahead and go to a G chord, and this one, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, so just like that. So let's go ahead and play that nice and slowly here. This is the top of verse 2 and verse 3. Okay, nice and slowly here. Here we go. To C, that quick G and F. Let's do that again without the commentary. Here we go. Repeat. So that's that first half of verse 2 and verse 3. The second half is just like we did in verse 1. C, A minor, G, and F repeated 2 times. So that sounds like this. And we're going to repeat that. From there we go to a chorus, okay? So what we're gonna do here, let's play the progression for verse 2 and for verse 3. Play through it nice and slowly. So here we go. Follow along, and then after that, we're gonna go ahead and go into a chorus so you can get the context, all right? So we're gonna go through the verse 2 and 3 progression into a chorus. And again, if you're enjoying the lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click that like button. It helps the algorithm and it helps the cause, all right? So here we go, verse into a chorus, verse 2 to chorus. Here we go. The chorus. Cool stuff, right? So that's what's happening there. Pretty neat. After that chorus, we go into verse 3, which sounds just like verse 2. All right? So, good stuff. Let's go ahead and do that. Why not? We're going to go ahead here. Let's see. We got time. We got time. Verse 2, chorus. Verse 3, and then we'll go ahead and look at the outro. So here we go. Verse 2. So that's what's happening there. So what we're gonna have here is an outro. Now, the outro is gonna sound like this. Bar chord F. C7. So what we're going to do here, so right after that verse 3, we're going to go right into that, right into the outro to a G, down, down, up, to an F major, down, down, up, to a C, down, down, up, down, up. And that is going to be repeated 2 times. So in context, that sounds like this, and I'm going to play through it slower. Second time. And a little bit faster. Now the final part, okay, you're going to hold the G chord, let it ring, F major, let it ring. And then going back to that C7. You can choose to play all of the notes at once, or all the notes at once, strum the chord, or break it up. Just like that. So I will leave that up to you. Again, a really fun song here. Really, really cute, fun, just a really charming little song. So I encourage you, if you haven't heard it, go and listen to it. Again, a very beginner-friendly one. I know the last couple of weeks I've done some challenging lessons, so I figured we'd give ourselves a little bit of a break and look into a song that's really fun and very easy to play with some cool chords, some interesting voicings on some regular chords that we may already know, which is lovely. So again, if you're enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It absolutely helps the cause. If you want to check out all the cool Fishman gear that I use in these lessons, including the RS Spectrum DI and the Fishman pickups here, the Matrix Infinity Enhance, which I happen to like very, very much. You can go ahead and check those out in the link in the video description. So a bunch of good stuff. And again, if you're in Los Angeles, my band, Angela Petrilli and the Players, we are playing our EP release show at the Mint in Los Angeles. You can get tickets on my website at angelapetrillimusic.com. I'm going to be doing a little bit traveling this year, so I'm not going to say quite where, but I'm going to be bringing the show on the road, so be sure to check on my website. We'll be making that announcement very quickly, so it'll be good stuff indeed. Again, thank you all so much. As always, wishing you so much success in your musical journeys. Let us know how you're doing on these songs. And folks, take good care. Keep playing a lot of great music, and I will see you next week.